We are now 30 days, 1 month from our scheduled graduation date. And in this world when nothing is going as planned and as our fragile hopes for the end of our high school careers have crumbled, I thought I'd speak about the gifts of adversity. The gifts of those moments when things don't quite go your way, and perhaps the greatest gift, the gift of failure. I think I've learned more from my mistakes and failures than I have from any of my successes. And believe me, I fail a lot. So while others may regale you with tales of glory, I figure you might as well know me, faults and all. For starters, I'm the boy who ruined Christmas. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was 5 years old. I was in my pajamas watching television when Santa had just anointed Rudolph the reindeer a hero. And suddenly, it all clicked. In kindergarten the next day, I emphatically raised my hand during circle time and proclaimed, "There's no way Santa can fly to every house in one night." Pandemonium erupted. Mrs. Ackley's jaw hit the floor but rebounded quickly, attempting to bring everyone together for a group hug. I had ruined Christmas. 12 years and dozens of crayon-written apologies later, I often wonder why I did such a thing. I know my 5-year-old self loved the idea of Santa, but even then, the pull of the truth was far greater, the truth of who we really are. We all have this idyllic version and image in our minds of what we want to become. In the first grade, we wrote a letter to our future selves saying all the things we would accomplish. I said I was going to go to college through a football, soccer, and baseball scholarship before inventing the newest iPhone, the iPhone 3, all before marrying my high school girlfriend. At one point in our lives, however, we have to accept that perfection is impossible. So don't let perfection dictate your happiness. And so too, we may not become the person we originally dreamt, independent of how beautiful the idea of Santa is or how problematic playing both college soccer and football in the same season would be. But with that failure, we learn to change, adapt, and accept. We modify our views and set new dreams, and more often than not, we achieve those dreams with newly found determination. Now, yes, we may have altered our course, but changing our goals is not a bad thing. It's tough and tests our honor, but there are some important lessons we learn, and what we achieve in the long run ends up being a lot more satisfying than marrying our high school girlfriend. I'd always searched for perfection, but in accepting my failures, I had come across the courage for profound reinvention. Every day in preschool, I would cry before I went to school because I was afraid of change. I was afraid of new surroundings. I would go to the bathroom between activities just to prepare myself for a new environment. But then I started to realize that not everything was instrumental to life. Not every task would make or break my next dream. And even if it did, it was okay to fail. Thomas Edison figured out 10,000 filaments that wouldn't make a light bulb. It was when McLaren and I were doing a chemistry lab making silver and we didn't follow the directions. We were supposed to use filtered water, but we accidentally used sink water, and it turned out that somehow we made twice as much silver as anyone else. I still don't know how that happened, and I'd love to have Miss Montanez try to explain that to me, but the point is, we wouldn't have had that success if we hadn't followed the directions and failed to follow those directions. It was tripping in mile 8 of the New York City Marathon, or accidentally deleting the first couple chapters of my book. It was having everything that could go wrong at a Model UN conference go wrong at every Model UN conference. It was that time you stood up for yourself and nobody would listen, and the time you told everyone you're for the boys and the girls, forgetting that the girls don't vote for Secretary of Community Affairs. It was learning from the scrapes and the bruises. The poor test scores turn out to contain the material you remember the most from your classes because that's the material you review before your final exam. Despite my many setbacks, perhaps there was no failure that was more constant than at my summer job. For 2 summers at a cancer research lab in the city, I'd repeat this little experiment for hours and hours every week. It was busy work and the experiment kept failing, so as the youngest, I was the one designated to keep it alive as we had a suspicion that it should have worked. And week after week after week, the results were inconclusive and it was a total waste of time. But during one of my last weeks at the lab, the results finally came in, and they were even better than the results that would have appeared if the experiment went according to plan the very first time we tried it. The cell simply needed time to grow and mature, and we published that data in a journal a couple weeks ago. So here's a revolutionary idea. I think we should cheer failure. I think we should embrace it for what it is. It's the crowning jewel of what makes us human. It's about realizing that adversities lead us to success, but only if you could subdue your fear of failure. See, our apprehension of potential embarrassment prevents us from trying things that we will most likely fail in. But the things that are easy to fail at, those are the things that are most worthy of success. I've seen some amazing people do amazing things. In fact, for my entire life at Brunswick, I've been surrounded by impeccable people doing incredible things. And Brunswick pushes success. It's all around us. And I'm very grateful for the memories and mentorship you guys have left me with. But it's not all about success. It's more so about learning from your failures. So I'll leave you with this. Next time, likely at graduation, don't just sing along to our WIC anthem. Actually think about what it means. Think about what it stands for. Boys of Brunswick, raise your spirits. Faithful sons, hold fast and dearest. Hold it close and never fear it. Courage, honor, truth. Never fear it. That's the important part. Never be afraid to fail. Fail with courage. Fail with honor. Fail with truth. And never be afraid to look Santa in the eyes and let the world know what you have discovered. Thank you.